Microphone. Hello. There we are. Am I audible? Or is the background music too loud? Too exciting. All right, cool. Thanks. It's I need to get a bigger size or do more exercise, but here I am. Anyway. All right. Cheers. I was playing around a bit with what everything looks like. You can see that there's a bit of delay also on the chat, which is absolutely fine. Well, it's probably a delay in how fast this is going there. So anyway, all right, we did question. Well, we did a question in the server in regards to what do we want to cover, and there an overwhelming amount is wanting to cover how to create new missions, chapters, episodes, all that sort of stuff. But the idea here is not that I am going to tell you what to do or how to do it or that sort of thing. We're just going to, vibe together, write together. So I am going to need your input, which with the slight delay in my video coming to you and then the chat coming back might slow things down a bit. But I will try to keep an eye on you. Just let me rearrange everything so that I can actually see. There we are. All right. Question, of course, also being is, is this readable on the monitors that you are watching on? Because I don't know. On my monitor, it seems pretty good. Not top chat. Let's see the live chats. There we are. Larger font. Yeah, it's quite possible. Oh yes, I love my. It's actually green switches, by the way. I had to check. But yeah. So this I'm probably going overboard, but we can't really read a lot of things in the same. Into the mark. Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. Good to know. Yeah, I'll probably play around with how everything is situated on the screen later. But it was a bit of a last minute addition, also because what I can do is if I push the margin a bit to the side, perhaps. There. Gives a bit more playroom. All right, so again, don't want to do just a panel on how do we do missions or anything. And this is actually something that we want to do going forward, the Let's Write type of content, because we are a writing community. Obsidian Fleet has been established for a long time as a writing powerhouse. So that's what we want to do. And one of the things that we do, especially as game masters, is write up a outline for how the story is going to go in the coming mission or chapter or whatever you want to call it. Episodes, I think I've heard them called. And this we actually want to give enough thought to so that people know what to expect and where to go and how to kind of react to that, but also not give too much so that they feel confined by the story that you have kind of cooked up. So that delicate balance we are definitely going to try and straddle. First things first. I myself am the GM of X-Men Avalon. So we could write a chapter outline for that, for a future chapter there. I'm also on the command team for Atlantis, NX-05, Lost in Space, Enterprise era Trek. And the question obviously being, which one do you want to write a mission for? Do we want to write a mission for X-Men, or do we want to write a mission for Atlantis? The Atlantis one is obviously going to be a suggestion to my lovely commanding officer. Also, the mechanical keyboard is not annoying, right? When I'm typing, I hope it doesn't pick up too much. Dealer's choice, that's not going to work because, you know, we have to write together. Got to make choices. Yeah. All right. X-Man. X-Men. All right. So the X-Men setting that we're going for, Avalon is set in the UK, 1992. Well, we're in 1993 now. We've made it into the new year. And I just want to kind of give an idea of what it looks like when we're planning our missions. This is our mission planner for our previous mission, the one that we've finished off. I think this is the older one. All right. So for Avalon, the first thing that we want to do is establish, okay, when is this taking place? Because there's a couple of things that happen in the only just, yes. There's a couple of things that happen in the animated series that will affect the global mutant cause. You can think about, Genosha and all that sort of stuff. So we need to establish if that doesn't overlap, or it will overlap, or how that will affect our chapter. Either way, this is our last one. I'm just gonna grab the one that we're currently on as well, so that we have a bit of an idea. Our current mission is set to run all the way to February 21st. Correct, yeah. So it's 1993 in the animated series that you know and love, and that got a kind of reboot / continuation this year. Hello, Chris. Welcome. So that's the setting that we're in. So there's no Excalibur, Black Air. We've established MI13 to be a thing. But other than that, we are pretty much free to do what we want, which is great. Thank you. Um, yeah. So what we will probably want to do at the end of every mission, I will always leave some time off, basically. So this one runs to February 21st. So what we're going to aim for is we'll start in March. Let's just do that. And March 1993. And what we want to do is try and figure out, okay, is there something that's happening around that time? What I already know is that during this time period, the initial Genosha premise gets set as a kind of a trap island for mutants that get captured, um, suppression collared, and put to work as slaves. Um, yeah, mission writing kind of took off in the last couple of minutes, I guess. So it's 7 to 3 for new characters and 2 for new posts. But this is a new segment that we want to keep doing for the Fleetcast. So we will be back, and then next time we will probably figure something out in regards to characters or posts or that sort of thing. Yeah, so we can keep rotating them in through and all that sort of stuff. All right, so bit of a background for us here. Besiege is the current mission. What is happening is that in the UK, Mutant Registration Act is passed in Parliament and ratified in the House of Lords, which very quickly after a new government agency, the Genetic Oversight Unit, is announced, which is placed under the NHS. And this will allow for some political shenanigans to happen there. Starting February 1st, 1993, all mutants are required to register their status with the Genetic Oversight Unit, and which is kind of the inciting incident for this mission for us. Because the headmistress, Claire Cavendish, refuses to register and declares that she will not let the GOU on Avalon grounds, which they respond to the only way they know how, by putting the entire institute under siege, hence the mission name. And Claire turns herself in, and then stuff happens. So, I'm trying to avoid spoilers also for the players that might be hanging about and looking in. This is what we've shared with our players already, so we're all good on that one. We're also have the opportunity to think of some subplots that involve a couple of different people, and we track whether or not people, or not people, we as a group are writing. So just to give you an idea of what this document is. Been going on for 20 minutes. We're not writing anything yet. So, we try and steer clear of established canon characters, similar to what we do in Star Trek. So the Brotherhood, we have a Brotherhood equivalent in our cast. I will also make this slightly bigger. The Sherwood Rangers, which is led by Robert Closeley, aka Robin Hood. And there's a couple of established mutants in there already. We can definitely do something with them in the next mission. The previous mission, this one, was all about a cultural festival that was organized in Avalon, inviting the community in from the nearby town. as well. Yeah, anyone that was interested could come and have a look at the school. The BBC Scotland came around. This is kind of an outreach. We are opening up our gates. We are inviting you in. Please, help us be more human in the eyes of the rest of the people. Um, Unfortunately, the political situation is so that it happened differently. And as I said, the Mutant Registration Act is passed. At the end of this, like a small spoiler, it will get watered down significantly. Mutant registration will be voluntary by the end of this. It will be a huge political blow for the Human Protection League, who are the people behind the new law surrounding mutant registration. The Genetic Oversight Unit will have a role to play in that as well. So, what we want to try and do for our next mission, just to keep things fresh for our players, is to avoid basically Human Protection League stuff. We haven't done a few. We haven't done anything with the Sherwood Rangers since our Halloween chapter, which was even before Winter's Crest. So it would be nice to uh, get them back into the fold. Um, the question then is how. So, anyone have any ideas, or do I just start spitballing stuff here? I think there's a heavy mix, Andy, for either you know uh, combat and uh, soap opera. There's a lot of internal characterization and relationships being built and all that sort of stuff to a backdrop of conflict, open or underneath the things. Start wondering what they will. I'm just gonna ignore the request for Greg's. There's two Gregs in New Crest Hill, so Greg's will always be involved. Wondering what they have been doing since they were last seen. Right, that's a very good question, and it's one of those threads that has actually been left dangling. So what happened in the Halloween episode? Again, not with the Brotherhood, but the Sherwood Rangers, is that Robin Hood and Maid Marian, uh, with the help of brute forcing from Lil Joan, were able to open up a ley line and empower themselves, and in the process, quite a lot of mutants throughout Scotland and a bit of the north of England. Mm. Um, they then infiltrated Avalon, so we got that part ticked off, Andy, so that Robin Hood could steal powers. He's a power mimic and is able to steal or borrow or copy mutant powers by being in their vicinity. So he did that, but the thing is that he kind of overloaded on them because there's so many people in Avalon and there's so many people that he ran into. He's been using the downtime between his two appearances to get back up to strength and develop his powers further so that he can tap into the copied powers uh, that he's previously got in touch with. making him a bit stronger, um, and yeah, better uh, for that. So that was. I'm not sure who Cal Rankin is. Could put him in a room with um, what's his name from Heroes? Right. So the way we want to, or the I usually structure our uh, missions is that we start with a premise. So this is what's happening, and uh, we throw up a couple of roadblocks um, to keep things interesting for our players. So yeah, following mutant registration, the rangers will actually kind of let themselves be heard. They do not agree. They've already always been a bit radical and conflict heavy. I don't see them respond any other way. So they're probably going to pick up their campaign of terror. As I bite into this lovely Terry's chocolate orange bar, which was sent to me by Chris. I love it. All right, so we want to do something with the Sherwood Rangers. Um, Following basically the fallout from the mutant registration, as well as Genosha turning out to be a, um, a front for mutant slavery. Um, Perhaps it's a good idea for the Sherwood Rangers to go, hey, that's actually a good idea. Not the mutant slavery part, but the establishing a mutant only country or county. I'm sure, sorry, eating and talking, not a great combination. So the premise is the Sherwood Rangers, um, following the mutant wages. Um, I'm reading along with you. Yeah. So what I'm thinking is that it's um, a nice premise, but since mutant registration is going to be voluntary by this point, the people that will actually be on the list wouldn't be easy to radicalize, I guess. Makes it a bit more difficult to establish that. Oh, on the big screen. Do I need to step back a bit so you don't see too much of me? Uh, Sending out recruitment efforts across the UK. All right. So the premise shall be following everything that happens in our besieged chapter. They want to establish a safe haven for mutants and take what Avalon did basically during the last chapter to a new height, creating their own safe haven and say, uh, we are Sherwood, only mutants can come here, non mutants will be, escorted off the premises. Nobody here will comply with any of your laws because your laws are beneath us, and all that sort of stuff. The Mutant Registration Act here will be resolved in a bit less forceful way through the courts. So there will be a kind of a watered down version still active through the NHS there. All right, so we have the premise that the Sherwood Rangers are there. They have everything established, and they send out recruitment efforts. People will be drawn towards this. But what would be a roadblock that this wouldn't normally interfere with Avalon's day to day? Avalon doesn't really mind, right? Doesn't care. So, what would make Avalon care is then the question, right? Yeah. I mean, Avalon, of course, is a kind of a free institute. So if people do make the choice of going there, that would be all right between brackets. But radicalization is not good. Talking about joining, following following the events in Besieged, several prominent mutants, students, and staff begin to view the Sherwood Rangers manifesto favorably. Hold on. So the Avalon, the PC is changing their loyalty. Yeah, offering them an opportunity there, but the premise obviously being that people want to be at Avalon. um, if they do kind of make that sidestep and want to go there, that's something that we can work on. But I don't want to force people to do that. Obviously, sort of shift the perception of local community. So Winter's Crest kind of shone a bit of a light on that one with how things were handled. We could definitely add. Okay, don't know why it's doing that. Add New Crest Hill residents renewed their efforts to get Avalon away from their backyard. To localize the locals against Avalon. So we're fighting on two fronts. Always nice. So the thing with these roadblocks, they don't have to kind of happen consecutively. We can just throw things in there, see what we do. And the question always is as well, okay, how do we resolve this? Maybe that will also help us find another way to block progress or block people going forward. Some talk about leaving Avalon for Sherwood. Actively recruiting within the institute's walls. That's one thing that I think Avalon would want to put a stop to. Posters, people, having secret meetings, all that sort of fun stuff. So, what would a resolution be for this story arc, this narrative? What would be a good way to resolve this stuff? Um, I could go either way. I don't mind, having a bit of a diminish. We did have a bit of that already, since um, everything basically that's followed has put Avalon more and more into a spotlight and into negative publicity. And publicity for the people that were in Avalon were kind of a bad thing, which means that they wanted to keep their anonymity. So student numbers have gone down, staff has left, and all that sort of stuff. So maybe if we start diminishing again, wouldn't be so helpful. But could like we could, keep diminishing until there's 10 students and 10 staff left. Either way, I don't mind. Again, we're writing this together, so I'd love to hear input from all of you. Well, more teachers than students, at the very least. Yeah, I mean that was the original X Men was also it was Xavier was the only professor really, and he had 5 students. The premise here in Avalon is already very different, so we'd still get into trouble a lot. Yeah, that wouldn't stop the trouble. So I think for resolution, what we also need to think is, does Sherwood get properly established or does it get squished? Yeah, I think a new, renewed trust would be nice. Avalon is seen as a paragon of mutant human relations as it protects a local community from Sherwood aggression. We could do that. Like, if Sherwood is going to establish itself, it's probably going to be somewhere that's already occupied. So, one way to elevate Avalon is to make them stand. What they stand for, basically, is good mutant human relations, similar to the X Men. Sometimes that puts them in between mutants and uh, humans on the side of the humans. I would say that Sherwood is probably going to have to be a bit further away um, from where Avalon is if we want to keep it in place. We could blow it up. I mean, this could be a first try, right? In order to get enough resources for their new country, the Sherwood Rangers start raiding local resources. these local resources. Obviously, Avalon. Avalon is called upon to help protect against these raids. The new administration act. I'm gonna give Chris what he wants. I don't know if Chris is still here, but you know. Quantum Knights string into action as a small squad of Sherwood Rangers descend upon one of the local Krigs in order to steal food supplies. Here we go. So we have some fights going on there. From the Avalon and Sherwood. Second. Because they're going to be close enough by to launch something against New Cresthill, which is nice. And what we will do as a resolution. So we have our basic kind of 1, 2, 3 premise. Are we happy with this? We can. Well, I mean, there's a couple of things that we can do about that too. And I'm of the school of thought that, as you can see here, we share a lot of the basic premise and roadblocks already as we are working through our mission or chapter, so that people can plan for it and react to it. I'm not sure if it does. Like, we can obviously relate or react to that and relate to that. But the basic resolution is still going to be Avalon will protect the local community from the aggression. The initial location is abandoned and they find a better place to settle. So the basic points of the resolution still stand, regardless of how many teachers or students change allegiances. I think it would still work. It's an absolute plus for players to do whatever they like within that premise. All right. So we got this. What I'm going to do is just create a copy of this. So at least we'll, at the very least, have 2 people still at Avalon. It's Claire and Phoebe. March. In the besieged chapter. March mission. This is just a placeholder, obviously. I'm just gonna clear these out for a bit. Calendar 1993. Sorry, I need to figure out. There we go. March 1993. March 1st is on a Monday. That's nice and easy. Just needed to check. Just gonna do this. There we go. Oh, that's a bit weird. Oh, anyway. It's already confusing, to be honest. Monday, Sunday. And hopefully I can just do this. There we are. All right, we are good to go. Question then is, like March 1st, we're probably not going to immediately start off everything that we want to do. February needs to. There we go. You should have made a character called Emu. Yes. You can always hit me up in DM, and we can talk about all of your character ideas and how to involve them in Avalon. Always looking for active, enthusiastic writers. All right. What I'm gonna say is the first week of March is gonna go on and be pretty bland. Mondays are terrible days to launch something, so I think Robin Hood establishes Sherwood. There we go. So what we have for us here is that there's a couple of keys. Anything that's green, basically, anyone can write in without problem. You can just do what you want. And I don't know why this is small, isn't it? For you guys, at least. It's small for me, so I can imagine. There we are. Oh, make it bigger. There we go. Robin Hood establishes Sherwood. Anything after that, we want to have a week where when we're writing, we need someone involved that knows of the plot, which is this. It's only posts allowed that include the management team. That's because we want to avoid kind of everything going every which way. Everything after that is too far in the future, and this is to avoid kind of the things where we were worried that some of our players or student characters might want to join Sherwood. So by saying anything that happens after the 15th of March, we're not going to post yet. because um, you might have a situation where on Wednesday you're saying, "Hey, this and this happened," and Claire sees it, but in our current thing, you know, if Claire is not around on Sunday the 14th because she's in prison, right? So all of that fun stuff. We're not cat herding. You shouldn't hurt cats. I think that's important to note. All right, so that's the premise. The first roadblock that we establish is that begin to actively recruit within the institute walls. So starting Saturday, recruitment efforts for Sherwood reach the institute. Yeah, cats can be bribed. Yeah, with catnip. Renew their efforts to get Avalon and Shuri away from the backyard. So local militia group is established. Established with help from HPL and GOU. This is great about this format is you can see me fail live on stream. There we are. Right, so we want to have a raid of new crest seals somewhere. It's probably going to be here. Raiding the Sherwood Rangers raid one of the new Crest Hill Craig's establishments. Big fight, fun times. And then probably there, the Quantum Knights move against Sherwood to safely break the siege by the government and protect Thank you, Obsidian Fleet. I don't know who is loving the new session idea, but thank you. Loving it too. And at the end of it, I get a very nice new mission that I can work with. No, not merge. I need this one. All right, so I think we have it in our framework right there. Always love to have a bit of an idea on the mission name. So if you have any ideas for mission names. Any ideas for what we would name this? I can ask ChatGPT, but that seems like cheating. We were writing together after all. Anyone? into the green, into the woods. We could do a musical episode. I'm just going to use that as a placeholder for now. That helps. All right. Into the Woods is a musical, as you might know. Little Red Riding Hood, Cinderella, Jack, all that sort of fun stuff. So knowing that, we can think of some achievements. Musical episode. This is not a musical episode. But we can think about achievements that people could get. All right. So knowing this, we have a bit of this as well. This one's sudden. A bit of this as well. But what we want is on these pages we have this, and this is basically the premise. So we need to figure out, is this good enough? Into the roots. We'll think about it. I've got it as a placeholder right now. Into the woods, into the roots. Or was it an idea for an achievement that could work? Actually, that would be pretty funny. Something along those lines. All right. I'm just taking note. This is not a whole lot, right? So yeah. So these are a primer for people that are come along and want to see, hey, what is it you're doing? What is it that could possibly go wrong? And have that as a bit of a primer. So we want to write the basic premise out a bit. The Mutant Registration Act has been watered down to the point where most political minded people call it, how do you call that? Bubsy. I'm not familiar with Bubsy. All right. Has been watered down to the point that registration is now no longer enforced. Following the successful resistance from Avalon, the Rangers under leadership from Robin Hood are emboldened to establish a personal nation and declare New save haven. Publicity quickly spreads word of this new mutant safe haven where no humans are allowed and human laws do not apply. Despite efforts from the UK government and the GOU, the Rangers are able to successfully since a Ranger or NPC led Kunde directly inspired Magneto to go capture his asteroid. I don't know. I don't pretend to know Magneto's ideas or thoughts. We again tend to steer clear of those things. Call for crusade. Yeah. So the thing is that they're not crusading, are they? They're establishing a sovereign nation. Yeah, I'm partial to one nation under the hood. But I'm not sure that is what we're going for. Rangers are able to successfully fend off efforts, fend off attacks, and more radicalized mutants join their cause. Word of this new nation quickly reaches Avalon and starts to echo through the ancient halls of the institutes. There we go. That's a nice primer. Gonna edit our chapters. Let me just very quickly check now what number that we're on. 3, so 4. Add chapter 4. To the woods. Upcoming chapter. Start date, I don't know. So that's one thing I never meet. The start and end dates. Always runs longer than you want. Alright. We put in the summary. Just a link. There we are. Copy the link. That's an upcoming chapter. I think we've done what we needed to do. All right, so I always like to add achievements to kind of guide people, like writers, towards certain aspects of the narrative. So what we wanted to do, for example, is recruitment efforts for sure would reach the Institute. Find or participate in an effort to recruit new people for the Sherwood Rangers. It's grassroots movement. Let's protect the local Gregs from raiding rangers. Anything else we want to do? The local militia. The most protected Gregs in the world, yes. The mall cops up the wazoo. Encounter efforts by locals to establish a anti-mutant militia. An anti-mutant militia. There we are. All right, so I think we even have our achievements set to our theme that we have there. Oh, sorry, this is that one. We have that here now. Into the woods. It's pretty nice. Pretty good. We can put that in the mission notes. Need a bit of to know a bit of HTML to successfully run a Nova game. Probably do with emphasize and all that sort of stuff. I think this is fine. It's better than cats. It's probably not here yet, is it? Chapter notes. No. Nope. All right. Sword. Anything that we want to... Do we want to add, change? Have thoughts on? Oh, the film is absolute horseshit. No, I just... Whenever someone mentions cats, I go, midnight. But the thing is that cats is something that gets mentioned a lot more than Into the Woods. That's my problem with it. The film didn't let it down. The film absolutely murdered everything about the stage musical. Anyway, a bit too passionate about musicals, I think. Yeah, the chat delay is super annoying. Yeah. Maybe next time we will use Twitch for this because there's too much of a delay between the chat and my talking going on. And that won't do. Simply will not do, mister. All right. Well, we were thinking that we might have gone until another, 40 minutes, but I think we're pretty good. We don't have enough time to. I'm holding the awkward silence with grace. Thanks. We don't have time to do another one. We don't have time to do a character. Since we're here, I might as well just, write a response to one of the posts. For those of you that don't work with Nova, this is how we write. It's basically a blog centric thing. Do you need help with your luggage? I'm trying to kind of get caught up. You can always ask general questions. Yes. In the meanwhile, I will provide you with a reply, and then you can ask your question, and I will write. Spoilers. Yes, but I thought this one was fine because it's Claire picking up Penny from the station, so it's fine. Cheeky sausage roll or a bun would be appreciated. Advice you would give new writers, mistakes you would warn us against. Advice to give new writers on on Avalon specifically, or just in general. What are some common? Yeah, tap tap tap. That's my mechanical keyboard. I love it. Common mistakes you could warn us against. Common mistakes, I think, have been kind of covered quite a bit, also on previous panels and all that sort of stuff. The primary one, especially for a game like Avalon, is kind of power players, leaning too much into a main character syndrome, that sort of thing. Um, so the common mistakes it's either Mary Sueism, that your character can do everything, can fix everything, is everyone's related to everyone, is everyone's go-to person to fix everything that's wrong in the world, or power playing in such a way that they are the strongest, fastest, biggest, you know smartest, sort of thing. It's lurking especially in X-Men games, but also for in general for Star Trek related things that Obsidian Fleet was built on. Examples. Oh yeah, one other mistake that I have also an example for is um, uh, well, people that don't want to work. You don't create a character that doesn't want to work with the team. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Um, Sometimes you need to think, what does the game need from my character, rather than what does my character need from the game. And if we do that, on and off, and we help each other tell the stories that we want our characters to tell, then that's what we're gonna do. Um, oh, it's. I think the other writer is fine with you interrupting the the flow of my writing. Anything you wish you could see more of in terms of writing themes or player behavior? More like, I already see this a lot, especially within the games that I'm on. Is just people communicating with each other and asking, what can we do to make this happen, right? Rather than, oh, I want to do this, right? People being involved in the small writing community that you've created, and people wanting to see what it is. Sorry, people wanting to see how they can help each other write the best characters and best interactions that they can. Yeah. It's too cheeky for Claire, I think. Uh, There we are. Saved. And while we're here, anyway. This one's also not. Was amused by it. Yeah. Well, you know, Claire is not always an amusing girl. She's too serious for her own good, I think, sometimes. Any other questions or things that we want to cover? It's just writing away. There's that awkward silence again. I think Phoebe is just very quickly trying to reply to my post so I can keep writing. But maybe we can use a bit of time to just, you know, relax, come down from the high of creating a whole new mission. And you know, if you want to find out exactly how this will play out, there's always you can come to Avalon and read our story. You know, jump in our Discord, ask your questions, come join Obsidian Fleet, find exactly that niche that you're looking for to write in. We have X-Men, but we have a lot of Star Trek and all the different eras. We have a Power Rangers game. There is a fantasy setting where it's basically bringing together all fantasy settings, which is always nice. So, you know, come to the server, come check it out, and enjoy the rest of Obsidian Day as I will leave you all until next time. And have a very nice evening. Bye.